Hey guys, metaloidmonkey here, and I'm bringing you another high-level Halo Wars video, and this time I'm playing with Afterburn, who's on After Freak, and we're versing Blopped and Grenadier on Beasley's Plateau. So I haven't uploaded in a while, and that's just because I haven't commentated in a while because I've been playing quite a bit. I'm back at college now, and I have been playing more games. But I haven't set up my cap card here yet. I mean, it's not really that hard. It's just I'm not entirely sure how I want to do that with the orientation of the room. I do have plenty of videos I can upload. I just don't know. I want videos of a certain quality, in my opinion, and quite a few of those are just more like mess around sort of deals. So, I mean, I'll be uploading quite a few of those as well, but I'll see where I go from here. I mean, I've been playing more StarCraft and stuff like that, but I'll definitely keep giving you guys some more content as I get it. But, I mean, I played quite a bit with Iron Wars for the win, and, I mean, he was uploading quite a few of those. I mean, there's still some more of those that I can upload, and so on and so forth, since I've been playing more Arbiter and less UNSC, since usually my teammates have been playing UNSC for me recently. But, I mean, it doesn't mean I can't point things out from the other side as well, since, I mean, I do play both. So in this instance here, it's another game on Beasley. It's very simple. You're going to want to go for Reactor second. It's going to be better than Reactor third, since you'll get those extra 2 pads earlier. So instead of getting 1 pad 30 seconds earlier, which would be your second pad as opposed to the Reactor, you're going to get 2 pads 30 seconds earlier than you would have if you went Reactor third. So I'm cutter this game. And usually with Anders you can upgrade that pad and then get Gunner without too much of a delay or anything like that. With Cutter you really can't upgrade that pad, even though you see me do it, because you see what happens right here. I'm just delayed because, I mean, I'm so used to playing ones, and it's like you get all that extra money in ones. So, I mean, maybe that was worth it, maybe not, I don't know. I don't really think it is worth it, in my opinion. So I feel like not upgrading that pad unless you get an obscene amount of crates. You can do that, so I'm just waiting here to go clear that hook, because, I mean, I don't want to clear my hook because their Arbiter might be coming over, but either way I'm going to leave a Scout Hog just in case. And I actually do see his Arbiters trying to be a sneaky guy, but I have it scouted out, so I'm not worried about that. Sure, I may lose 1 hog, but I didn't lose all my hogs. I still have 3. It's definitely enough to still get hook control, and I'm not even worried about anything like that. Delaying pads on my base, not important, doesn't matter at all at this beginning stage of the game, because the most important thing is that I keep building hogs so that I can get hook control. So, yeah, whether I delay a pad here or there, you're always going to want to have more hogs in the field, because as long as you have more hogs than the opponent, you'll get the extra 2 pads, so delaying 1 pad to get the extra 2 sounds good to me if I'm getting the extra hog numbers out. So, he actually went all the way to clear my hook. And so I'm at their Arbiter's base clearing his hook, because obviously of the way they clear their hooks. So I was trying to buy that turret so that he'd have to come back. So since he did come back, I'm just going to quickly leave, and I'm just going to buy that extra pad, unless I was going to give it to my cubby. No, my cubby has an extra pad there. I gotta keep making hogs, and I'm going to try to buy this turret and take my hook back. I don't know why my hogs are stuck at that turret, that's annoying. I guess I just rallied poorly. So now I'm just gonna go sit in front of their Arbiter's base so he can't like get massive amounts of grunts through or anything like that, but he doesn't have any, because hey, he raged one of my hogs, he clicked up that pad over there, he's upgraded 2 pads, and he's now citadeled. So even before then we weren't sure. We have a hall on our base, which basically forces their hogs to sit at our base, whereas we can have my hogs can be wherever as long as I have that hall denied. So he tries to deny the turret with 2 hogs, which is not enough to deny a turret on their own, and I have a hog helping out. You need at least 3 hogs to deny a turret, and that's if you hit it when it starts building right away. 4 gunner hogs, for those who don't know, is actually enough to sit on a UNSC base indefinitely and deny stuff. Hopefully I'm talking loud enough, I'm not sure. I'm not really talking that loudly right now, and I'm not sure about the mic volume. So I really do apologize if my volume's a bit low here, so I'm just like looking at the meter and like hoping that I'm speaking loud enough, but I'm just kind of in the mood to talk in this standard tone and not really go for anything super extravagant, since it's not really my style, honestly. So I'm just gonna, just keep building pads, and I'm finally getting a VD up, not VD up, second reactor. And when you're going for your second tech, you can delay the pad, and you can just put the second reactor up 6th, or you can build the pad and put it up 7th. Difference? No, not at all. Really, it doesn't matter, even in the slightest. So it's just preference, honestly. Whether if there's a chance of them like hitting your base or anything like that, then you may want to build that extra pad to have it. So I mean, it's safer to build the extra pad. So we tried to unlock a bunch of grunts here, but they just don't get through. He only gets like 1 through out of all that, but it's fine. We forced them to build turrets. I actually think I have more hogs on offense than he does, because for some reason it looks like he cut hogs. Now you see that turret right there only does hit 1 pad on that hook, as well as with the eastern hook. The turrets will hit both the pads on the western and southern hooks, so that's a nice thing to note as well. And my roommate just got back, so I mean he's just, yeah, no, I gotcha. So I'm just gonna keep doing this, my little commentary over here. And he's got his tacos. Is that the tacos place there in the okay? So anyways, continuing with this game here, we have the majority of the hooks. They're trying to take the bottom back right now. I'm just doing nothing of significance with my hogs because I can. I mean, I guess I'm just keeping pads down on their arbiter's base because we had our arbiter recall because I think they got grenadier or something like that. I do have a significant number of hogs here, so I can actually easily keep everything down, and his arbiter really does need to recall if he wants me to get off of his base anytime soon. Otherwise, he's just going to be in a really terrible spot. So I have my second depot up right now, and I don't really intend to build out of it. It's just kind of like I have the eco to support you if I really need you, but I'm just going to put you here and use you if I really want to, like if it's necessary. So I mean, their arbiter recalled finally. That's all I wanted him to do. My hogs at this point in the game aren't too useful since I do have tanks on the floor and I don't have grenadier on the hogs. If the hogs had grenadier, like if you were playing Anders, I'd be more inclined to actually keep them alive since they can be more significant in clearing out hooks and holding hook control. I hope you guys can't hear the random sirens in the background, but either way. So he's got Goss with 2 hogs, which is never a good thing for him, for only having 2 hogs when getting Goss. Our arbiter's pretty weak, but not too significant. Honestly, I think the double summit banshees are much scarier when you're versing hogs than just an arbiter. Because if you just have a single arbiter, I mean, sure, they walk in, they debomb, it's dead, but obviously tanks will beat hogs in a debomb, but I feel like massed hogs are going to be a bit better than massed tanks at dealing with arbiters. Well, until I hit Canny, of course. But that just gives them that sort of window, and that's just not the kind of position you want to be in. So, I mean, Banshees will deny expansions, and when you can't get expansions with Goss, and you're forced on defense, Goss just becomes really bad, because it just gives your tanks so much time to build up. So I'm just going to be making sure I have my Canny coming up, clearing out an expansion base, and I don't know why I have this tank down here. I think it was to help clear the hook faster, or was it just in case they were going to push over? I think it was just to clear the hook. So now I have these 2 hogs there, helping clear out that. I have the tank behind the base, clearing that out, because I believe their arbiter was over there at one point. So now I'm just working on clearing these hooks out. We're taking them back. They took their hooks back. Goss is pretty good at taking hooks. But we're just swapping hooks, so that's no big deal. So as long as we stay pretty even with them with hooks, we'll be fine because I'm on a double depot, and this map does favor the ability to produce tanks, especially because you can put a double depot and stay on a single base without needing to take an expo. I'm actually taking one of these pads? I don't know if I'm taking one or none. I don't know. Either way, their arbiter sees that. He's like, oh, I'll just go kill the tanks. So I mean, that's why I don't have all my tanks together, because I don't want to fight them yet. In fact, I'm in weird locations with all my tanks, so he's gonna be hard pressed to find them all if he wants to rage them down. But as long as we still have our arbiter alive and we have enough tanks to effectively debomb, we should be easily able to hold off any push they try to make. My hog there is still alive, so that's just convenient for us. And I'm just continuing to build my tanks. I don't need to down tech. I mean, because I just was going for Canny, I do have Canny now. If I want to maintain my tank production right now, I would be best off doing a down tech. I'm not sure if I do. There I go. Okay, perfect. Let's go, yeah, right around the time of Canny. While Canny's researching, you actually have a little bit of extra money. So you can use that and put that into a heal, into an expansion base, into extra tank production. But I mean, usually you'll be able, because what happens is that candy researches in a minute's time and costs less than tank, whereas tanks take 35 seconds, cost 500. Which basically means that you have some money left over. I was just collecting money there. I was trying to buy that base. The arbiter's over there, but I'm just going to leave that hog behind it, and I'll buy that base later. I like generally, it's really pretty much always a good thing to expand on the down tech instead of going all out with the down tech, because you don't really need to just try to push and end it with the down tech. You can just macro up behind it and then eventually get back into PT, because if you have an expansion base up, like they have an expansion, why can't I have one? So, I mean, I don't need to sit on a single, and so I'm just going to keep building my tank numbers up. And they have Hornets, but that's actually a poor decision on their part, I believe, because you do, like, it's good to have air with your Goss, but if you're going to have air, you may as well have Banshees, and if you can't get Banshees, then you build Hornets. But their Arbiter was easily in a position to be able to get some Banshees on the floor, so there's no reason that he shouldn't have. I guess he was just trying to catch up in Arbiter tech because his base got stripped so hard. But Hornets don't do too well versus tanks. They don't do too well versus Arbiters, unless you're playing ones, and that's very different. But I'm just going to be able to candy glitch their Arbiter, and now I'm just going to be able to deal with the Hogs, and having a little bit of a circle running contest over here with our Arbiter running away from their Hogs. But they don't really have the DPS they need to be able to kill these tanks quickly enough to make it worth it for them. I'm double pumping, I can easily just keep my production going. I'm pushing in with 4 tanks, sending back tank back to grab the expansion. I don't actually need to kill them, I don't want to send all my units just yet, but I want to see if I can do any damage. So I just have, I'm just going to be probably rallying my new tanks back, or I could push in with all of them, and then just keep the reinforcing back. Or I could push elsewhere. Like, the thing is that usually what happens is when you start off making tanks, you always end up into these like phases of where you just try to push in with all your tanks in one spot, but then you start playing with Goss and then you start realizing, hey, I can do a lot of damage if I start splitting everything up, and then you go back to playing tanks and you start splitting up the tanks, and honestly that's what I ended up doing now. I just split push everywhere, and it's just very effective. You just don't want to try to engage the army directly, and that's the thing about UNSC. Except for when there's gremlins involved, is that they can't really force a fight. You can usually just escape because both your units travel at the same speed. The difference, so you can always like macro up behind it and just trade some units, because by the time they get back across the map, you'll already have them rebuilt. But the difference is that when you're playing Covenant, vampires can stasis, so they can force fight and you can't escape. So you can't do that sort of game. So, I mean, it's just a thing to consider. So I don't exactly have the eco I want to be double pumping tanks, so I'm going to be singling for a little while while I'm putting up more pads on this expansion base. Just clearing things out. As long as I keep above like 5 or 6 candy tanks, I can always just drop a D-bomb and win any engagement. We have some vamps out to deal with air, so that's not a big deal. He's just trying to rage my tanks solo separate from his Hogs and play hero mode, which is never a good idea. Our Arbiter's actually head on tech. The game lagged a bit there, so he did a smart thing and recall because he was worried about getting insta-candied as soon as that unlagged, because I would have easily been able to click on his Arbiter. So that's just another thing to consider. Oh, and also, since it's a far spawn Arbiter, Halls are an option. Just usually the Hall will force their Hogs to be at your Arbiter base, while you can actually send your Hogs elsewhere and split them up a bit. Or your Arbiter can split up, it doesn't matter. Generally you want the Hogs on the base, and the Arbiter can go grab hooks. But if they have a Hall, then Hogs alone may not be enough to stop the grunts from getting through. So basically, you're going to try to go for a Hall, but usually it's just going to get denied anyways. He's going to be trying to kill that depot, so I'm just going to put one up on my expansion base. Throwing heal on my Arbiter. I don't really want to fight him right now without my Arbiter, so I'm just going to have to let him take that hook while I hit my numbers up. I guess it's the same idea of just having a sack base right there. Like, you don't need to fight him before you're ready. You can lose some stuff as long as when he tries to push in for that final push, your army's just going to crush his. Which I know my mass tank army will. Because tanks will beat Hogs when we have mass numbers. The difference is that usually Hogs will have more numbers because you can build them all game. So, I mean, I'm at 7 candy tanks. It's a very healthy number. And, I mean, they have a Tech 2 Arbiter, but we have an Arbiter coming up as well. So, I mean, I can engage this if I need to. If I really need to, I can drop a D-bomb. I shouldn't really need to. I'm just locked on their Arbiter right now. I'm just you know, waiting for the moment to get a nice canny on him. So, I mean, I'm just going to keep building up on my base here. He's in a really terrible spot with his Arbiter, just really easy spot to canny. I think I actually misclicked on a Hog, but it shouldn't matter too much. He's right in the middle of all my tanks. Got an Arbiter there to help me out. You don't need a canny to kill an Arbiter. Even just with stock tanks, if you have enough of them and you got them surrounded with your Arbiter helping out, it's just fine. I mean, I guess that's the same thing could be said in Gauss fights. Like if they have a Tech 3 Arbiter, there's pretty much no amount of Gauss that's going to be able to kill a Tech 3 Arbiter. But if you have your own Arbiter helping you kill him, then he'll die. So basically, as long as you're together, you'll be fine. So Gauss, not usually the greatest thing on Beasley's. If you're doing it solo, honestly, you can easily afford to, if you keep your Hogs alive, to go Gauss and Canny with Anders. So I think that's usually the best way to play it, because then you'll have this early extra damage without cutting your tank production. Because Gauss is Anders and Canny is Anders, they're pretty much free, being only 200 and 400. That was pretty much. So I mean, we're just gonna be pushing in, killing Expos, and at the point where, I can just keep spamming candy tanks. I have my new tanks. I think I'm setting it up to go clear that hook out. He's trying to cryo, but a cryo is not going to really save him because they don't have the damage to be able to kill the tanks. They're not going to be able to kill the tanks. Like, they need stuff that kills tanks, and we have stuff that kills their stuff that tries to kill my tanks. So, because we have the vampires, we have an Arbiter. If I ever need to, I can debomb. I'm losing some tanks, but I'm just double production back on my base, ignoring the fight over there. Doesn't matter. I know I'll trade cost effectively. As long as I don't trade ridiculously poorly, then that's fine. I mean, I can lose my whole army and still be fine. So, I mean, their Arbiter's just in a poor spot. He'll probably die running away. Yeah, he does end up dying there. So, I mean, I'm just clearing up their bases, but a double production of candy tanks is really all you need to be able to deal with Gauss on this map. It really does come down to like who has better hook control, and in my opinion, Anders will be able to get the better hook control because of the ability to get a faster Grenadier. And usually when I'll play Anders on this map, I also find that it's better to get Tech 2 before you even go for Fortress, whether that be by putting it on a hook or by putting it on your base by deleting a pad. Because then you can easily also start building tanks at the same time, because the faster you get your Tech 2, the same thing with Cutter, the faster you get your Tech 2, the faster you can get into tank production, which means the faster you can take out some hooks in other locations, because your Hogs and tanks can't really be in the same place. Well, they can be in the same place at the same time, but you can split your army at that point. So I'll use tanks to like reclaim my hooks, as opposed to sending it all the way over to theirs and stuff. And a lot of the times you can end up in these base trade scenarios on this map, and like with the last video. So when you have these base trade scenarios on this map, the one thing to remember is that the common thing on this map is to double summit. And in teams, double summit's great, but when you bring it down to like if you're playing 1v1, double summit not so good anymore. So if they're just double summiting, then I'd gladly trade my Covey teammate's base for your UNSC base, because you're not going to have a full pop of tanks, and I'll be able to continue building my tanks and wolves as I need them. And double summit does really poorly when the other person can just make wolves all day and doesn't have to worry about building tanks to match the other team's tanks. So I'm pulling my tanks back. I think I actually have one tank still going forward. I thought I had it under the local units, and I was just trying to throw a heal for my Arbiter there. So I think I actually do have it going to the battle. I'm not sure if I pull it back in time. Nope, it's just having fun going to the rally. Anyways, yeah, I must have just missed it with the local units. Still doesn't matter, so I figure I may as well try and just canny a Hog, just try to cut his numbers in any way possible. And I'm just going to continue building my tanks back on my base. They can't actually push, they lost too many Hogs, too many bases. There's just no way they can effectively make a counter push on us. So my Arbiter's doing nothing significant because he was just building some vamps and raging, so he's got leftover money, so he's just trying to click me so that I can get into PT. Because, I mean, PT would end it much faster, but I mean, I'm just waiting back, slowly upgrading my eco, getting farther and farther ahead, trading cost effectively, and as long as I keep my numbers up, they can't actually push and win. So I'm going to be down here defending his base just in case of a push, so I am locking up my top base just in case. I don't want them picking off tanks for free. That's the most important thing. So we're just making sure that they're not like over there collecting the money or anything, because if he is, then I can easily go and push down on their UNSC base.
All units.
And we do see that they're in the middle. So, I mean, we still have the Vamps, and they don't have very many Banshees, so I'm just going to be trying to rejoin with my tanks at the top, just so he doesn't catch it for some reason. I mean, I have an Expo, they don't, which definitely just puts me in a really good spot to be able to finish this game off. So, in terms of, like, production, you see I'm not, like, re-upgrading paths, and it's not because I don't want to. I mean, I totally want to, I want to make sure the most important thing is that I have my tank production going, because I did lose some tanks, and I do have all these extra pads. So, me upgrading extra pads at this point isn't going to do too much, because I have all these. I have way more pads than I would need to be able to be double pumping my candy tanks. So I have enough pads upgraded. I can keep upgrading pads, but I don't need to be doing my tank production. And since the goal right now is just to get into PT, and my Covenant teammate is intending to click me here, I'd probably just be better off getting into the power turret. And once I have the power turret paid for, then on the down tech I can upgrade some more pads since I'll be around full pop. So, I mean, you always do want to be trying to upgrade those pads, but it doesn't matter in this case, because I am building tank production. It's tanks versus hogs, and generally with tanks versus hogs, you're more worried about getting more units out, as opposed to just having units and being able to match ecos. With, like, in tank fights, you always want to be able to trade units with them and be able to just have more eco behind it to be able to keep building more units. Because then you'll be trading more cost effectively than they will, and you'll eventually just win out in the later game with your third expansion and your Spartans and your reinforcements and everything. And that'll just make it a really nice, slow, easy game for you. You don't want to. You can try to end it in the early game, but trying to end it in the early game assumes that one team has a ridiculous Covey lead, or that their UNSCs wasn't like building on their base or something like that. I mean, it's just that, you know, it just comes down to, you know, macroing up and just getting ahead of your opponent one way or another. And you see now I down tech, so now I have this extra money, I have these, I'm in pretty much full pop, so there's nothing they can really do. He's trying to cryo, he actually ends up missing, he hits the air, but I just have too many tanks. Even if they were to cryo my tanks at this point, they just don't have enough damage to end up killing them. So now I'm just, you know, continuing my buildings, and it's just straightforward from here. I could be taking a third base right about now. Now would be the time I would do it, because I'm essentially full pop. I have my pads getting upgraded, and we're definitely in a good position. We're not going to like lose if I do that, and it would put us farther ahead if for some reason I was getting pushed off. So, I mean, that's pretty much going to be the end of this video here. I would also like to mention that Zero Subset restarted his channel. I play a lot with Zero, so I really do think he's a really great guy, and you really should check out his videos. I think it's Zero, Z-E-R, and then the number 0, Subset, and all one word. And so, I mean, that's what he's really just trying to produce good quality content, and he has a good commentary style and is very into editing and stuff, so he really just puts a lot of time into his videos. So it's definitely a good thing that he's restarted his channel. I'm just very glad to see that. So you guys should definitely check that out whenever you get the chance to. I also will post some more 1v1s. Maybe I'll pick up some of the slack that Marco is putting down, since he's thinking GTA 5 all the way. I'll put some. I guess I could play some Arbiter for you guys and show you some of that, because he's refusing to play Arbiter after what happened when he asked me to play Arbiter versus Brood on Chasms, and I won. And basically, what he's saying is that it's just too hard, and I didn't have a serious strategy, and that, I mean, it's so risky. And I told him that. I was like, well, that matchup's pretty much just cry and resign. So you got to do risky things and just like hope that something magical happens. So, I mean, that's pretty much what it's all about. So, I mean, I guess I'll see you guys next time. I think I'm gonna do like another little clips video of just like random things. So have a great day, guys.